Welcome to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. It's your opportunity to learn more about your garden and your yard, about dealing with pests, and about taking care of the birds. You can be part of the show with your questions at 395-1450. That's 395-1450. And now, from DeBruyn Seeds on Washington Avenue in Zeeland, here's the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
And good morning, everyone. What a lovely day we have here today. Please take time to be outside today and enjoy the beautiful weather God's given us right now. You know, in 4 months, we're going to want this weather again, but take it and just soak up that sunshine this morning. It is glorious out there. I was out there, ate my breakfast outside. Kat and I were sitting out on the deck. What a beautiful morning to be out there. Okay, so end of my preaching. Got a couple things. I'm still taking Aid for Puerto Rico for island dogs and Save a Gato. So if you've got some medication that you did not use all of it for your pets, I would be glad to take it off your hands and send it down for the island dogs and cats. They would appreciate it. Also, if you didn't take all your medication, shame on you. But hey, I'll still take it and send it down there. Love doing that. They really appreciate all the help we've given them over the years. So I will continue to do this. And the next thing, one last thing, the 2025 DeBruyn pet calendars. I am starting to collect pet pictures. So if you've got a lovely picture of your dog, cat, horse, goat, whatever is your pet, I would love to get a picture of it, and I will put it in the 2025 DeBruyn pet calendar. They'll be ready in November. Please don't push me on this. It takes me a while to get them all collated in there. But yes, if you want to get your dog or cat in the calendar or whatever, please email them to DeBruynSeed@gmail.com. That is DeBruyn as in Sam, EED @gmail.com. Give me the name of your pets as well as your name. And if you have more than one pet, make sure you describe. Hey, the black dog that's sitting on the purple chair, that's Hank, and just kind of describe it. So I don't want to mislabel the pets for you. But yes, I need the pet's name and your name, and we'll get them in the calendar. It's too much fun. I know it kind of sounds early, but for me, this is not early. I got to get this going. So thank you very much for your help. I do appreciate it. Things to get done this week. One thing you've got, if you have not applied any kind of grub control, the season-long type grub control on your lawn that prevents the beetle eggs from hatching into grubs, you need to get it down soon. We don't have that much time left. End of July, usually they'll say they might go into August, but getting it down now would be a lot better. And after you put it down, you do need to water it in well. It does degrade in the sunshine. So when you put the BioAdvanced season-long grub control down, get the water on it right afterwards. Turn on the sprinklers, and you should have a grub-free fall. Wouldn't that be fun? And then you won't get those skunks coming around digging up your lawn. If you've ever had that, they can make such a huge mess. So consider that the BioAdvanced season-long grub control, that is like the number one thing to do this week if you haven't already done it. That is number one on the hit parade at my house. Just going around and looking at people's gardens, I know it's not fun to be outside when it's hot out, but honestly, gardens need to be weeded. That's one of my pet peeves is to go out there and see all these weeds out there. We need to get rid of those weeds. The weeds take up nutrition that should be going to your plants. And also it's a place where the insects and fungal spores will hide in those weeds. We don't need that around our plants. So make sure you get your weeding done. If you don't want to do it again, do the weeding and put some preen down, put some mulch down, do something so the weeds don't come up again. So you aren't constantly out there weeding. Because I can tell you, the weeds will grow much faster and much healthier than any of your plants ever do. But they are sucking nutrients that your plant should be getting. So get out there and weed. And I know it's not fun, but I'm out there weeding too, folks. You're not the only one. Um, Remember to keep those tomatoes well watered and evenly watered so you don't get blossom end rot. If you do get blossom end rot or your tomatoes have a tendency toward that, let's get down the calcium around it and make sure they stay well watered. And you shouldn't have that problem. Usually, the first, oh, couple might be blossom end rot, but usually it will grow out of it after a while. But make sure you get that calcium down there so it can get up in the plant and you don't get that. And staking your plants, I've seen some gladiolas that really need to be staked up somehow, you know, but against a fence, put up some stakes or whatever. They get so top heavy when they get all those blossoms on it. Either that or pick them and enjoy them in the house. But I know I I I love to take flowers in the house, but I hate to take them away from outside because they're so pretty out there and I love sitting out there and looking at my flowers, and the bees kind of like my flowers too, but enjoy them in the house too. That's part of the fun. That's why you grew them. So we don't get this in the winter where you can go outside and pick an armload of flowers and bring them in the house. You don't get that. So enjoy it while we can get that. So get out there and deadhead your flowers. The more old flowers, the spent flowers, the more you pick those off, the more flowers you will get. My zinnias are going nuts right now. I keep cutting them off and they just keep on coming. And I've had some wacky colors on them this year. I don't know. I can't remember what variety I even used. We have four varieties. I know it's not the littlest one, but I have no idea which one it is. But I've had some wacky colors. Started out all pinks, and now it's going into a really, I mean, almost chartreusey, purpley type thing. Wow, it's pretty incredible. But they've been fun. So keep picking those, and you'll keep getting you'll get more. Another thing is the hot, humid weather is coming up again next week. If your plants have a tendency toward powdery mildew, get a preventative fungicide down there. Remember, once your plant gets powdery mildew, there's nothing you can do about it. Those leaves are gone. You either pick those leaves off or that's it for the plant. So, get a preventative spray on there. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. I mean, you can put milk on your plants for the powdery mildew. It is half and half whole milk plus water, and spray it on there, a light spray. Make sure you try to get underneath the leaves also with the pressure, with the tank sprayer or however you're doing it with a ozone sprayer. You cover the whole plant, and it will prevent the powdery mildew. You're going to have to spray it quite often, a couple times a week maybe with the milk. It's not, one of the other fungicides that you would spray on, like the Bio Advanced for flowers, that's got a fungicide in it. You don't have to spray that as often, but hey, the homemade ones you do have to spray quite often. So keep that in mind. If you don't want to be out there spraying all the time, Bio Advance makes a wonderful 3-in-1 product where it kills insects, funguses, and mites. I love it on my roses and some of my flowers. I spray it on very religiously once a month, and I just don't have a problem with those. So that is something to think about. easy enough to do. I write on the bottle like I do it. I did it on, July 30. So, or June 30. So then I'll do it again on July 30. And I write it with a Sharpie on the container when I've last done it. So I remember, because sometimes I go, did I do that or not? But if I write it on the container, then I know when the last time I applied it was. So that helps me. I don't know if it will help you, but it does help me get that under control. What everybody is coming into DeBruyn's for right now, they have crabgrass. The warmer temperatures have really, oh my goodness, the crabgrass has just gone nuts in places. We do have the crabgrass control, which is the thing I would recommend using. I love that. A crabgrass destroyer, it's called. It I've got it. It's a tank sprayer. It's got a battery on it with a wand, and you just turn it on and you just push a button and it sprays. It is so easy to use, folks. And it doesn't take much. Just spray the weeds. It doesn't kill your normal grass. It works wonderful. It's made by the Scott's company, and normally I'm not a big Scott's person, and I know we sell it, but I had crabgrass one year where I had redone the lawn right next to my driveway for, like 4 inches along my driveway. And it came up all crabgrass. And I just sprayed this stuff down. There was some grass coming up, but my goodness, this really took care of it. I was so impressed. And for some reason, Scott's had crabgrass destroyer on the market, and then they decided they weren't going to make it this year. DeBruyn's is pretty smart. We went to every supplier we knew and bought out all of their crabgrass destroyer everywhere. So we have it. Now they're going to make it again because of demand. Everybody wants it. So it's something that really works well. And I will tell you, it's an off label, so you didn't hear it here. But you cannot use crabgrass destroyer on Bermuda grass lawns because it will kill the Bermuda grass. So you didn't hear it here, but it will kill Bermuda grass. So if you've got a problem with the Bermuda grass, the crabgrass destroyer is what to go get. It's got the topramezone, I think that's what's in it, works well on Bermuda grass. So something, if you've got a problem with that, you might just want to head on over to DeBruyn's and get crabgrass destroyer. So do get that. There is another weed that's coming up, showing up in area lawns, and I've seen this a couple times now, and it's called the broadleaf hellebore, and it's called a weedy orchid. It originally came from Europe. Someone brought it over because they thought it was so pretty. And it comes up and it always looks like it's going to flower, but the flower is really not all that pretty. Occasionally you might get one that has a kind of a spiky flower on it, but most of the time you just kind of get this green thing at the top. Hard to kill because it is a monocot weed, and mainly we have dicot weeds. So the most of the stuff won't work on it. The nutgrass killers seem to be the best thing to use on it, and we're going to talk about this more once we come back from these messages.
Hi, this is Mark Vandenbosch of Zeeland Lumber and Supply. Join me Saturday afternoons at noon for the At Home Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.
And we are back with that music. All right, I am awake and ready to go. Okay, we were talking about the woody orchid or weedy orchid. I can get this. Or it's a called the broadleaf hellebore. It comes up kind of in a clump, and we think that it's going to be a really cool flower. But we've got a phone caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Hour.
Hi. Good morning, Jan.
Good morning.
I'm sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have two questions. When is a good time to trim boxwood, a boxwood hedge?
Okay. Usually, we like to do those sorts of things in the early spring.
Okay.
But, if they're overgrown right now, I would get them done, yes, right now.
Okay. My second question is I'm doing cement leaf casting, which is fun.
Oh, how fun.
It is, and I'm doing elephant ears. Am I depleting that bulb each time I cut off a leaf? Do they die off to feed that bulb in the fall?
You know what? I wouldn't worry about that one bit. I had an elephant ear last year that I swear half the leaves kind of died on their own, and it came back just fine this year. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I love your show.
Oh, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, those elephant ears. I love those things. And I think I had it in the wrong place last year because it kept, oh my goodness, now that leaf is dead. Now this leaf is dead. But, I came back this year and I put it in a different spot and it's doing fine. So, I wouldn't worry about you took too many leaves off it. Have fun with the casting with the cement with that. That's so cool. I'm sure your birds and your butterflies and everybody else will enjoy that. Okay, we were talking about the weedy orchid. I'm going to get this out sooner or later. It comes up. All of a sudden will come up and you'll think, oh, it's some daisies or whatever. It's kind of a fleshy looking plant. If you bring it into DeBruyn's, we know what it is. Believe me, we can tell you what it is. And the problem is if you spray it with a regular weed killer, it really doesn't kill it because it spreads underground. And you'll see it one place in your landscape beds and you'll try kill it and you'll think, oh, yeah, it died. And then, a month later, it's coming up 4 feet away. And it's just irritating. I went through this for quite a while trying to kill it. And I realized, and I finally learned from the extension that it is a monocot leaf, a weed. And normally we have dicot weeds. So we need to use something different on it. And the nutgrass killer, not the crabgrass killer, but the nutgrass killer can be effective because that is effective against some monocot species. So you can try that spraying with that. If it's in the lawn, which it can come up in the lawn too, mow it down and then paint the ends of it with the, you can actually even paint the ends of it with a glyphosate, intense glyphosate thing, or the nutsedge killer. And that should be able to take care of it down to the root. Not guaranteeing that it's not going to come up elsewhere, but you're just going to have to keep doing that, mowing it down, and then coming back with spraying the tip or painting the tip with like a Q-tip or a little brush or a sponge or whatever, and get the top so it sinks right down in the plant that you just cut. These are a bugger, and I'll tell you, they are a bugger. And I'll tell you, in the lawn, it's probably easier to kill them than it is in your landscape bed because it's hard to spray anything. So you're going to have to cut it down, and then with a sponge or whatever, you're going to have to brush the tops of that with the weed killer. So keep an eye out for them. If you see it one year, you'll just keep continuing to see it unless you can really get it under control. And it's going to take some work on your part to really get it under control because of the way it spreads. So, it's just one of those weeds. It's kind of like Bermuda grass. It is just so irritating, but you use the right product and you should be able to get that done. So, And now my next thing is something that I was noticing while going through the city of Holland the other day, all the beautiful trees that we have in Holland. And right now, at the base of the trees are all these little sucker plants that are coming up. You have to cut those off. That's taking off a lot of energy from your tree to do that. So we need to get rid of those. We need to take a pruner and cut it off as far down as you possibly can next to the root or next to the tree trunk, wherever it's coming out of. You need to cut those off, whether you do it with a saw or some sort of bypass pruner. You need to get those off. And then they'll probably come back, but you do need to get those off. It's not good for your tree. You'll notice that the tree just really doesn't do well with all those sucker plants on it. And boy, there were some that I saw that it looked like there was a bush growing up around the tree. It was that bad. So you really need to get out there with as much armed with as much possibility as you possibly can, with the pruners, with the saw, whatever you need to get to cut that off. Now, another thing I'm noticing, and this you see more in fruit trees, if you get a branch that goes parallel to the ground, and all of a sudden there'll be little branches that go straight up. Those are called water sprouts, and you need to cut those off too. That's also just taking a lot of energy away from the plant. They're not going to be a productive part of the plant. So you need to cut those off. So those branches that go straight up from a branch that's parallel to the ground, a main branch parallel to the ground, you need to cut those off. It can just divert too much energy from the rest of the plant. So, you need to get those off. And the smaller they are, the easier they are to remove. So if you see them, don't think I'll do that later. Do go right out and get your pruner and get those cut off right now. It's something that needs to be done. It's one of those, what do I do in the yard this week? That's one thing. So, okay, I'm off my soapbox now. Now we can talk about other things that are going on at DeBruyn's. Food plots. I don't know. I've never seen so many people buying seed for food plots in July, but they are doing it right now, folks. So it is something to get out there, get the food plots. We've got plenty of seed. It's not that we don't have the seed, but I've never seen them do it quite so early. A little early to plant. Okay, but they do. It will, can't bait. So planting a food plot really does attract the deer. And we've got a lot of choices. You could put some buckwheat in right now. It actually will improve the soil, and you'll get a nice crop of nice white flowers that the bees absolutely love, and it will improve your soil. So that's something you can do right now. And the rest of the things they usually put in August, mid-August for a crop that for when you want to be out there hunting. So there's something green and growing. That's always good. And also we're thinking of seeds to put in our own gardens. The peas and things like that. We can put those in pretty quickly. The one thing about a fall garden is that, you don't have the weeds and you don't have the insects. And you don't have the problems that you do during the summer. So, if you want to do a fall garden, kale, spinach, lettuce, radishes, turnips, root crops, peas, the greens can all be put in the ground in mid to end of August for a fall crop. If you're thinking of doing broccoli or cauliflower or Brussels sprouts or cabbage as a fall crop, that needs to be planted in the soil now. Put the seeds in right now so you can get a fall crop. A lot of these things taste better after they've been hit by the frost, like kale, if that can ever taste better. But Brussels sprouts, and again, can they ever taste better? But sometimes they taste better after they've been hit by a light frost. Remember, I say light frost. If we're going to have a heavy frost, no, they're not going to. They're just the cells break down, and it's not a good thing. But a light frost, yeah, they can survive 30 degrees, not a problem at night. So you might want to think about planting those things. And if you plant peas, you get peas in the fall. What a lovely thing. I love having fresh peas get out of the garden because I can tell you right now, I'm pretty sick of green beans right now. And if those green bean plants don't stop growing, I am just going to rip those things out. I am so sick of those right now. They have been just going great guns, for the last 2-3 weeks. I'm sick of them. So we'll come back with the garden show after the news.
Saturdays are special with the David Carrier Show, Money Matters, the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show, and the At Home Show. All on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.
Okay, you woke me up now. That's always good. Like that one. Okay. Okay, the garden show. Hey, the phone lines are open. 616-395-1450 is always the number to call. 616-395-1450, number to call. Going to remind you that rabies has been found in Ottawa County. Rabies is a fatal disease. Fatal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's fatal. It was found in a bat. Found in one bat, it's going to be in more than one bat. If a bat does get in your house, it can easily bite your dog or cat. They're not going to tell you they've been bit. So make sure your animals are up to date on their rabies vaccination. Cannot stress that enough. Make sure they are. Rabies has been found in Ottawa County now. If a bat does get in your house, please, once you've killed it, and I know, I hate to say it, but you do have to kill it, and then bring it over to the health department over on James Street. They will check for rabies for you. It is free. You do not have to pay for this, but you need to know just in case. A bat bite is not a horrible bite. It's not going to be like the cat's going to, or the dog's going to sit there and cry and whine about it. Not a big deal. But if it is a rabid bat, it can transmit the rabies to your pet. So again, make sure your pets are taken care of. Rabies vaccinations, you can get them that are good for 3 years. So, it's not like you have to bring them in every year for that. And to get a dog license, you do need to have rabies vaccination. It isn't, an arm and a leg to get that vaccination. So do get out there and get that. And now the Jamestown Canyon virus was found in Allegan County. This is a disease spread by mosquitoes. Also, West Nile has been found, Saginaw area on that side of the state. These are all diseases carried by mosquitoes. Eastern equine encephalitis is another one. There are more. Zika is another one, spread by mosquitoes. So, it was wet enough there for a while that the mosquitoes by me were really bad. So if you're going to go out, do use something that mosquito a repellent that's got some DEET in it. Make sure you wear long sleeves, light colors. If you're going to be out in the evening, that's going to be the best. So get that. Do take care. There are mosquito repellents that you get from your vet that you can put on your dog or cat also, so they don't get stung, because they can get diseases also. So the mosquito is the most dangerous animal in the world. We've got them here. So do take care. You can spray your area if you're going to be having a picnic in your backyard or whatever. Spray there. We've got sprays that you can spray in your yard. It will last a couple of weeks. So get it sprayed so it works, so you can be outside. My neighbors did that last night. They had a bunch of people over. They sprayed. They were all outside all night with no problem at all. Well, not all night, but until 9, 10 o'clock with no problem at all. So you can spray. There's some, actually, you can actually put the bug stuff that is a granule on the lawn and water that in also. The sprays will also take care of ticks. So if you have a problem with ticks and mosquitoes, that's the way to go. And it should last, 2-3 weeks after you've sprayed. It's not something that only gives you 2 hours and then you're done. So, yeah, or you can put up the Spartan mosquito eradicator, hang that up about 50 feet away from where you're going to be, and that will draw the mosquitoes over to that rather than be by you. Works well. You only need 2 of those per acre of lawn, I believe. So it's not like it's a huge investment of your time. And if you put one on one side, one on the other, or well away from where you want us to be, you should be just fine. I used one year, worked well. So I was impressed. This the Spartan mosquito eradicator. This company also, after there's been a hurricane that goes through, I don't know how many people have lived through a hurricane, but after they come through, you get these warm, sunny days afterwards. It's the most beautiful sunshine ever after a hurricane, but it's humid and it's wet and it's just mosquito city. This company actually brings it out, follows where the hurricane went, and hands these mosquito eradicators out to people. So they give away thousands of them every year after a hurricane's gone through. So got to give credit to that company just for that, because it is kind of a tricky thing to get rid of those mosquitoes afterwards. And you don't think about it. People are thinking about other things. They're not thinking of mosquitoes at that point in time. Excuse me, I keep having to cough here. What else was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about birds. All these things are coming to me now. Birds, make sure you keep the hummingbird nectar clean. In the hot weather, it's only going to last 3 or 4 days. So every 3 or 4 days, I want you to get out there, dump the nectar that's in there, refill it, clean it out, and refill it with good nectar, and hang it back out there. If it gets cloudy at all, you need to take it in because that's nothing but bacteria. So keep those nectar feeders clean so you keep your hummingbirds happy, especially this time of year. My hummingbirds are just flying around, just happy as can be. So we've got one more segment to go, so we'll be back right after these messages.
Weekday mornings at 7:55 a.m. Catch the huge interview with me, Bill Simonson, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.
And we are back with the last bit of the garden show for the week. If you've got a question, still have time. 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450 is the number to call. Getting some questions this week. One is, I've got lots of blossoms on my plant, but there's no fruit. What's going on? Remember that, like on your squash plants, pumpkin plants, whatever, there are male flowers and there are female flowers. When the plant first starts setting flowers, it only sets male flowers. So if sometimes you just have to be patient for those female flowers to come on. And if you want to make sure that you get some fruit, although on the zucchini plants that I've seen around, they've been plenty. You can hand pollinate them by taking a pencil with an eraser end and going into the male flower, get some pollen, and then go bring it over to the female flower. You can do that if you like, but just remember, the first flowers on the plant are always male, and there's always many more male plants than there are female flowers. So the female flowers are the minority. Males are the majority there. And if a temperature goes above like 75, it might be that the pollen that's produced in the male is just a little bit sticky and maybe sterile if the humidity or the temperature is too high. So that might be a problem too. So sometimes it's just, be patient and it will be better. So, you can sometimes patience is the word. That's the main key word for gardening anyway, is patience. And we just have to be patient and things will come. And my last thing is we have to be, well, maybe not the last thing I want to talk about, but we have to be mindful of the pollinators. And it's not just bees that we're worried about. We're also worried about butterflies. There are other insects. There's even some beetles that pollinate. And there are actually even some mammals, some small mammals, and some reptiles that actually pollinate also. So it's not just the bees, but we do have to be mindful of them. And if you decide you really need to spray your garden with something for an insecticide or whatever, it's okay. I mean, you're not a bad person. There's different things, but remember, everything kills bees. I don't know of a thing out there that doesn't kill a bee. It's always the first thing on every label, kills bees. So, even organic thing still kills. Even insecticidal soap will kill if you're spraying it when the bees are out there. So I want you to go out there. If you've got an insect problem in your garden, I want you to go out there in early morning or in the evening once the bees are done for the day or haven't gotten up yet in the morning. They're usually not the first things that wake up in the morning. Spray that. And I want you to spray on a very calm day. I don't want you to it's a little windy out right now. This would not be a good day to spray. The sprays nowadays, they're so micro encapsulated that it's such a fine mist that it doesn't take much of a breeze to have it blow off to heaven knows where that you don't want it. So make sure it's a very calm day when you're spraying it. Calm, very calm morning. That's usually when you get the least amount of wind anyways, first thing in the morning. And then spray the foliage only. Spray the green parts only. The bees are going to land on the flowers and walk into the flowers. So we are not spraying the flowers. We can spray the leaves, and that's fine. That's usually where the insect problems are anyway. If they're on the flowers, I just want you to cut off the flowers, just snip them off, and you might get rid of the insects at the same time. Throw them in some sudsy water, get rid of the insects. But otherwise, spray the foliage only. Let's not be spraying flowers where the pollinators land. And honestly, if the damage is done, I've had a couple people, there was a potato plant that someone sent a picture of. I mean, the whole thing was eaten. I mean, it looked horrible. It's too late to spray. I mean, do admit that, and just revenge spraying is not going to do anything. So if the insects are gone already, there's no sense in spraying anything. So do keep that in mind. And if you want to put the season-long grub control on your lawn, I want you to mow the lawn first so there's no little clover flowers or flowers sticking up. I just want it to be green when you put it down. Therefore, there's no problem with the bees coming and landing on a flower, clover flower, and it's got the merit in it. So we don't want to, so we want to have it mowed. So there's no chance of anything. It is just green. And you can tolerate some insects. You need some insects there to get the beneficial insects, because the beneficial insects are not going to be there unless there's something for them to eat. So, your plants can tolerate a certain amount. So you do need to keep your eye on this sort of thing. If it gets too much, you're going to have to spray. But you do need to tolerate some insect activity. And you know what? If you just really don't want the insects on your plant, like if you're seeing a lot of moths flying around and you don't want the eggs on in little worms on your plant, row covers. That's what they're there for. We've got them at DeBruyn's. Just cover them. It's almost like a cheesecloth type covering. The sun gets through, water gets through. The little insects can't get through. Perfect idea. So do put those out. Row covers. It does also prevent the bees, but it doesn't. If you've got a problem with other things like cabbage worms, etc., that works well. And if you've got a problem with birds eating your apples in the trees or your pears or peaches or whatever you've got, again, we've got mesh that covers that sort of thing. Works well. Go ahead and use it, folks. Don't. You want a crop. That's why you've got them there. So do use it, but use it carefully. Use it according to the directions. And if it says, I'm not kidding you, it says 1/2 teaspoon per gallon, that's what you put in. You don't put in a tablespoon. You put in what is recommended. So, that it works the best. That's what it is. Follow the label instructions. And also, if you're trying to catch a groundhog, lots of people are, watermelon with vanilla extract on it. That's what you put in their traps. Okay, I will be back here Tuesday morning at 8:35 with Dan for the garden party. I'll be here Tuesday morning between 10 and 11 with Gary on Talk of the Town for the garden hour. I'll get these times straight. But I will be back here next Saturday at 11:05 or whenever the news is over with the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. So until next Saturday, go green.
You've been listening to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com. If you wish to hear this or other programs hosted by the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland, check out the podcast section of our website, WHTC.com, and listen or download for free. The Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show is a presentation of 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.